Coming up on WFT Midday, new pressures on the Trump administration to bring back a man who is mistakenly deported. We have the latest on his deportation and what the administration is doing.
And a new bill in Florida could change how we keep kids safe from human trafficking. We'll tell you more about how this bill will affect kids and teachers in schools.
Plus, if you're using electronic cigarettes while smoking to help you quit, it might just be as bad as cigarettes alone. We'll tell you about the risks. WFT Midday starts right now.
You're watching WUFT Midday.
Who it can't and what role the federal courts play in the process is heating up.
Federal judge set new orders and a new deadline for the Trump administration to explain what it's doing to bring a mistakenly deported Maryland man back to the U.S. This is WFT's Midday. I'm Kade Sowers.
And I'm Jessica Wilkinson. WFT's Peyton Richards is live in the studio with emotional reaction from the wrongly deported man's wife.
His name is Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. His wife, Jennifer Vasquez Suda, wants to make sure his message is heard. The father of three was deported to a prison in El Salvador. Justice Department officials initially called his deportation an administrative error. The Supreme Court ruled the administration must facilitate his return. The White House says El Salvador would have to initiate the release. The administration now says he was not mistakenly deported, noted a judge's previous ruling that Abrego Garcia was part of the MS-13 gang. His attorneys say it was questionable testimony from a confidential informant. His wife is ready for him to come home.
Enough is enough. My family can't be robbed from another day without seeing Kilmar.
Garcia has never been criminally convicted in the U.S. or El Salvador. Records show he entered the U.S. illegally in 2011 and was granted protected status in 2019 to prevent being deported to El Salvador because of potential dangers. Legal experts argue the case raises questions about due process for anyone in the United States. Live in the studio, Peyton Richards, WFT News.
And in our state, officials at the University of Florida have taken swift action to partner with ICE, but the legality behind the partnership is unclear. WFT's Emilio Boutros is looking into how this new agreement will impact students and what role law enforcement will play.
The 287G agreement is a task force model which gives officers the authority to interrogate anyone believed to be an alien about the right to remain in the country, as well as make arrests without warrant. Florida universities are not the only ones to do this, as ICE has signed 456 agreements for the program in 38 states.
International students are being targeted and having their visas revoked based on participation in political protests.
This agreement comes at a time when immigration and deportation have become a hot-button issue in the U.S., especially in recent weeks. The State Department confirms they have revoked more than 500 visas for students and faculty.
We are not going to be importing activists into the United States. They're here to study, they're here to go to class. They're not here to lead activist movements.
The prospect of increased immigration enforcement could cause additional friction on campus. Last Wednesday, crowds gathered to protest the deportation of Felipe Zapata Velasquez, who was deported back to Colombia last week. I reached out to University of Florida police to determine the role in this ICE agreement. They responded in a statement that reads in part, "We can confirm we signed the 287 agreement. Beyond that, we have nothing to add."
Reporting, our reporters have contacted legal teams for more information on the legality behind this move, and once we get that information, we'll bring it to you on WFT.org.
Other Florida universities have also agreed to partner with ICE. Students at Florida International University are protesting the college's decision to give ICE agents authority on campus. Two demonstrations took place on FIU's main campus. While the college's Board of Trustees was meeting inside, protesters were sending a message outside. Students and faculty protested the signs and chants against the university's police department partnership with ICE. Faculty Union President Tanya Lopez says the buildup of actions against immigrant students is troubling.
We saw first denying DACA recipients in-state tuition, then now enrolling in the ICE program. FIU student visas being revoked. We don't know why, but nobody knows why. Nobody's telling us why. So all these steps are being put in place, and where does that lead us?
In the last month or so, 18 FIU students have had their F1 student visas revoked, and the university is not saying why that happened. But the university did issue a statement saying its police department is just following the governor's directive to partner with ICE.
We are seeing sunny skies with low humidity this week, and today we're going to be warming up to the upper 70s. WUFT meteorologist Maxham joins us now, and he says that dry conditions this week are increasing fire danger across north central Florida.
Yeah, relative humidity into the 20s, the mid-20s for most spots, 25%. Our current relative humidity in Gainesville, and as temperatures warm up into the upper 70s, this number only going to go down. Numbers in the 20s considered to elevate fire danger because it just dries out available fuels very quickly today. We'll warm up in the upper 70s currently. It's in the low 70s, 73 degrees. Light north winds are blowing behind the front. They came through yesterday, and we'll see numbers right around that 80-degree mark in Ocala, 79 at Stark today. Clear skies with that light north wind. Sunshine stays with us for a couple more days, but this front here is our next weather maker. I'll track it as it arrives coming up.
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and a new Florida bill could change the way we keep kids safe in our public schools. WFT's Bailey Kornick explores why training teachers about human trafficking will increase vigilance in schools.
So the sooner we can find these red flags, the sooner we can report it, the sooner we can stop it, the less trauma these children, our Florida children, are going to go through in the long run.
Tazara Wheelhammer and Lauren Evans are the authors of Senate Bill 444. A bill that requires public school personnel to be trained to identify potential victims of child sex trafficking. Florida was the first state in the nation to require training for students, but the duo says it's more common for states to mandate this training for teachers.
And we know that's kind of a huge gap in the law because we're expecting these teachers to train the students on something that they themselves aren't even trained on.
She says Florida is the self-proclaimed leader in human trafficking awareness. Still, it's time to double down.
It should be the norm in Florida because children are being trafficked here. And I know it's something people don't want to think about, but Florida is the third largest hub for human trafficking in the country.
Here at the Child Advocacy Center, we served 63 children that were affected by child sex trafficking last year. And I mean, this is not a real big community. 63 kids is a lot of kids.
The president and CEO of the Child Advocacy Center in Gainesville affirms that these crimes are in our backyard.
But having the teachers trained in such a way that they can identify children who are at risk at trafficking. We'd love to work on preventing trafficking from happening in the first place.
She says prevention should be a priority.
Do I believe that we can prosecute our way out of human trafficking? No, I don't think so.
Evans and Wheelhammer's professor says teachers are first responders. He doesn't want to place bets, but says they're committed to getting this bill passed.
I don't gamble, but can it happen? Yes. If it doesn't happen, what will happen? We're going to be back next year. So this is too important.
That was Bailey Kornick reporting. Lauren and Tazara said California and Texas also mandate training for teachers. They also mentioned that just 1 hour of training can save a kid's life.
You can support child sexual abuse survivors and raise awareness for this abuse by walking next Tuesday. Lauren's kids are walking 1,500 miles across Florida for the 10th anniversary of the Walk in My Shoes. Walk in My Shoes 2025 plan to walk into Ocala on April 21st and into Gainesville on the 22nd. You can sign up on Lauren's Kids Walk website. The event costs $25 to participate. Once you complete the 5 to 6 mile walk, an Uber code will be provided to cover the cost of a ride back to the starting location. Registration ends on April 20th for Ocala's walk and April 21st for Gainesville's walk.
Most Americans filed their taxes Tuesday, but you have a couple more weeks to file if you live in one of these 9 states. The IRS expanded the deadline to May 1st for states who were affected by natural disasters in 2024. According to the IRS, states like Florida, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, and South Carolina were added to the list due to impacts from Hurricane Helene. IRS officials say the extra time should help ease the burden of on people affected. The automatic extension applies to a wide range of returns and payments, including individual, corporate, partnership, estate, and certain nonprofit filings.
Representative Kat Kammack took the big scissors out for the grand opening of the Ocala District Office. The Florida Congresswoman cut the ribbon for the new buildings surrounded by county leaders and constituents. The office is back in its original location in the McPherson Government Complex. Representative Kammack says having the office centrally located with other state and local offices will best serve the community. The office is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Emergency responders around the country are celebrating Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Our dispatchers in Alachua County are taking the party to the next level. From banners in Mexico to statues in Greece, every inch of the Alachua County Dispatch Center is decorated for the celebration. The office throws a theme party every year to honor the work the telecommunicators do for the community. The theme this year, International Fun. Lucy Pickett has worked in telecommunications for 25 years. She says she's been hooked on the job since day one.
I love to help people. If I can help one person, that is worth it.
If you need help, you can call or text 911 and a telecommunicator like Lucy will be there to help you. We'll have more honoring telecommunicators' work in the community tonight on First at 5.
Before we head over to UF meteorologist William Maxham for the rest of the weather report, let's take a look to see traffic on our live DOT camera near Gainesville. You can see near I-75 by Gainesville's exits on your screen. We are seeing normal traffic on your lunch break now, so it's a great time to get what you're craving for lunch. Before heading out, let's check on these sunny skies with UF meteorologist William Maxham.
Yep, skies are completely sunny, Kade. In fact, we're looking at the deep blue sky. Temperatures are warming up. In response to that sunny sky, we're already at 74 degrees in Ocala, 72 currently in Gainesville. And as temperatures go up, relative humidity is going to be very low. And that's because a cold front came through, gave us a reinforcing shot of cool and dry air. We're still going to be pretty warm though, upper 70s today with those light north winds continuing to blow. But as those temperatures crank up, humidity is going to be lowest. That's going to be happening right when temperatures are at their warmest into the late afternoon tonight. Coldest night of the week. We're expecting temperatures to get into the 40s in most locations. But this afternoon, low 80s and upper 70s, and that's going to take that relative humidity all the way down into the teens for most of the afternoon. Certainly not a day you want to do any kind of outdoor burning. Fires will spread very easily in dry conditions like this. Fortunately, the winds are going to remain pretty light through the afternoon, and the wind direction coming out of the north behind our front. You can see high pressure keeping skies free of rain across the majority of the nation. We have a slow moving cold front here, and in the next couple of days it's going to kind of park itself across the center of the country. Basically from Dallas to Chicago, we've got a couple of days with scattered storms that are just going to continue Friday, Saturday, all the way into Sunday. Let's track that front as it just kind of stalls across the center of the country. Here we are Friday evening. Severe storms going to be erupting there. Same thing happening Saturday into Sunday. Not much movement at all. However, this front going to make its way into our area by the start of next week, with showers back into the forecast potentially around Tuesday. Those chances, though, looking pretty low. Weekend forecast looking great. Easter Sunday, perfect. We're going to be near the 90-degree mark, actually both days of the weekend, and dry and comfortable into next week. Temperatures will be moving up next week. We're expecting highs pushing up into the upper 80s to low 90s. Again, there's a few showers possible Tuesday, but the heat and humidity definitely cranking up after a dry and cool into this week.
Look at today's top stories for our Spanish language audience.
Hola, soy Kahn con tus noticias en 90 segundos. El gobernador Ron DeSantis dice que la Fundación Hope Florida pondrá coordinadores en todas las universidades estatales para ampliar su alcance. El anuncio se produce después de una investigación de las finanzas de la fundación liderada por los republicanos, en la que se cuestiona si se utilizaron $10 millones de fondos de Medicare para luchar contra la legalización de la marihuana. Los enlaces actuaron como punto de contacto entre las 28 universidades estatales de Florida y Hope Florida, informando a otros sobre la filosofía y los fundamentos de la fundación. DeSantis calificó la investigación como una campaña de desprestigio. Los legisladores presionaron al presidente de la Junta, quien admitió que no hay supervisión sobre cómo se utilizan los fondos. 6 artistas, incluyendo la estrella del pop Katy Perry, viajan al espacio por 11 minutos. El viaje subió 62 millas a la atmósfera con el objetivo de sentir varios minutos de no gravedad y presenciar vistas de la Tierra que cambian la vida, empezando con las mujeres en la aeronáutica. Blue Origin, la compañía que realizó este viaje, dice que es solo el principio de lo que ellos quieren ofrecer y esperan tener un negocio exitoso de viajes espaciales para consumidores. El expresidente peruano Ollanta Humala y su esposa fueron condenados a 15 años en prisión por recibir fondos ilícitos de campaña de una constructora brasileña. Humala y su esposa, Nadine Heredia, fueron acusados de recibir fondos de la constructora Odebrecht, ahora conocido como Novonor, en su exitosa campaña electoral del 2011. Siguiendo el veredicto, el Ministerio de Asuntos Exteriores de Perú dijo que Heredia ingresó a la Embajada de Brasil en Lima para solicitar asilo diplomático, el cual fue concedido. El abogado de Humala calificó la sentencia de excesiva, diciendo que los fiscales no lograron probar el origen ilegal de los fondos y que la defensa planea apelar una vez que se emita el fallo el 29 de abril. Esas fueron tus noticias en 90 segundos. Gracias por sintonizarnos.
It's hard to stop smoking, but smokers who turn to electronic cigarettes to help them quit may not be helping their health. CNN's Mandy Gaither looks at a new study to tell us how using both these products carries the same risks as cigarette use alone.
It's a common way to cut back, but if you think vaping while continuing to use traditional cigarettes is a healthier route, American Cancer Society researchers urge you to think again.
The goal really should be to get to zero smoking, zero tobacco use.
In a new study released today, researchers analyzed data from more than 2,600 adult smokers who reported dual use of cigarettes and e-cigarettes and compared them with those who used just one of those products. They found those who used both were exposed to the same tobacco-related nicotine and toxins as they would be if only using traditional cigarettes.
The number of cigarettes per day, whether it's the e-cigarettes or the regular cigarettes, the number of cigarettes per day was the most important factor, where, of course, higher number of cigarettes gave you higher number of toxins.
The exposure to these toxins carries risks of cancer, cardiovascular disease, reproductive problems, developmental issues, and respiratory harm. Researchers say smokers should be aware that dual use of these products is not safe.
I think the main thing to take away is that the less you smoke, the better.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. government is placing new restrictions on the export of NVIDIA's artificial intelligence chips to China. We told you on Tuesday how NVIDIA is building AI supercomputers in the U.S. which rely on these chips. NVIDIA says the government is requiring a special license for its H20 chips to be exported to China. The H20 chip was specifically designed to accommodate U.S. export controls to China. The model has less computing power than the more powerful H100 artificial intelligence chip, which has already been banned for sale to China. As a result, NVIDIA says it will take a $5.5 billion financial hit.
You could be looking at lower drug prices soon. President Trump signed more executive orders Tuesday, one aimed at lowering these costs. White House officials say the executive order is designed to lower prices for seniors and improve upon the Medicare drug price negotiation program. That includes efforts to lower the cost of insulin and facilitating approvals for generic drugs. Specifics of the plan haven't been released yet, but a White House official says that it will eclipse the savings the Biden administration achieved in the first year.
If you're looking to save a little extra cash, you might need to look at how you're buying clothes. Thrift stores are seeing an increase in customers who are looking for more affordable clothes. People who shop at thrift stores save nearly $1,800 per year, according to Capital One shopping research. Data also shows about 1/3 of clothing items bought in the U.S. last year were secondhand. This comes as more people are concerned about the U.S. economy and President Trump's tariff policies.
We're almost to the end of the show, so now let's check over at WFT First at 5 anchor Juan Carlos Chowie with a look at what's coming up on First at 5 on Channel 5.
Well, Kate and Jessica, the First at 5 team is working on several big stories for you. Let's get into it. Up first, we'll bring you the latest on the teacher and parent protests against allowing ICE into the classroom following the ACPS meeting last night. Plus, we'll cover the end of a year-long investigation of a copper theft ring in Bradford County. And finally, how 911 dispatchers are honoring National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And Kate, Jessica, I just got to say, you know that happens every year on the second week of April.
Alrighty, well, thank you, JC. Let's head on over to the weather.
Yeah, we're looking good. We've got sunny skies for the rest of the week, and temperatures are going to keep moving up. We're in the upper 70s today, but 90s return over the weekend, Easter Sunday. No issues there. A few showers possible on Tuesday.
Well, thanks for joining us on WFT Midday. We're back here tomorrow for another edition.
We'll see you later today for First at 5 on Channel 5. Have a beautiful afternoon.